of ducking and weaving. I mean, I think compared to the rest of the teams in the NFC, are the Cowboys in the conversation? Let's bring the fellas in here, as we always do here on a Wednesday. By the way, that was pretty awesome. Phil Sims
Hold on one second.
Wait, let me get. What is he going to go get? Toilet paper? How you doing there? Hey, Money? And I'll say, Champ, how you doing?
Champ is good. The champ is good. Champ
By
is
the way,
great.
you have to listen to what Phil Sims said a couple minutes ago about Jalen Hurts. I'll tell you in here in a minute, bud. And I just texted him about Dak. He's a huge Dak Prescott fan. Mark, he likes Dak. Again,
I mean, how can you not like Dak?
What's that? What's that?
How can you not like Dak? Amazing talent. Amazing. He's amazing.
Hey, Mark. Now I got an interesting text from Philly.500.
Mm-hmm.
I've been very, very, very upset lately about Dak Prescott, and you've been like a little bit upset. Can you please expand?
Upset?
Mark's been very upset lately about all the Dak Prescott hate.
No. Hold up. I'm used to that. I'm used to the Dak Prescott hate. I tell you what, it is crazy. I'm going to tell you, Philly, you guys better not lose this game, because I literally have a guy. I wake up in the morning. I'm over there next to my wife. I'm snuggling up. I'm trying to rub a little something. I'm enjoying my life here before I have to get out of bed. I see my wife. I grab my phone. I check my emails. And every morning there's an Eagle fan that sends me just the craziest. Your team sucks. Your quarterback's ass. You're going to get, mollywopped on it. Admit it. You suck. You suck. I'm like, how do you wake up in the morning ready for violence like that?
I think you should share the emails with everybody. I think you should do videos.
I do.
Read them out. I think it would be great to see it.
Yeah, I used to get them from 49er fans, but they've kind of gone silent now.
I think what happens is you talk all that shit all week, and then of course you're going to have Eagle fans respond, and I don't know what you expect.
Hold it.
All week.
Here with the
you take little jabs. Come on.
I live over here in my own little world, okay? Everybody keeps saying, go ahead, say it. Go ahead and say it. Say you're going to the Super Bowl. Say you're going to beat the Eagles. It's like, I ain't said any of that. I am happy that my team has actually made some moves where the players feel better about the organization, that apparently last year with Mike McCarthy and the way he got bitch slapped by the Cowboys organization, that there was this pall over the whole team. And, everybody's just kind of like, we don't know what the future's holding. At the moment, I can say people are excited. I don't know if that's going to equal wins. And I'm going to say the Cowboys are actually making some moves that are, can I say, Eagle-esque in trying to fill out a roster?
Not Eagle-esque.
Well, here, let me ask you something.
What we normally do. Yes, it is.
Mark, you know what I think? And I'm going to tell you, for me, and by the way, this is not indicative about who the better player is. Okay, this is not. I think one of the most important people in the NFL this year, one of the most watched players this year, will be Dak Prescott.
Always.
And I'll tell you why. Is he going to suck? Is he not? Is he going to carry the team? Philly, to what you say, I mean, there's a reason the Dallas Cowboys are the most watched television show every year. It's because of the brand itself. So I put him next to Mahomes because I want to know, don't you? You're going into year 10 like we talked about.
Do I want to know what? Do I want to know what?
I want to know if again, Michael. Now here, wait a minute, Philly. Jordan didn't win a championship for 8 years. Okay, wasn't like it was instant success for him in his first 8 years. Scoring champ, put a lot of numbers up, kind of the way Dak is. Okay, but eventually. Well, Dak's put up great numbers, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
He put up Jordan numbers. I wouldn't put up Jordan numbers.
Well, I think leading the NFL in passing touchdowns is pretty
John
impressive.
Stockton numbers.
Well, no, I think leading the NFL in passing numbers is pretty I think that's impressive. I don't think that's something to sneeze at.
No. Look, I think Dak is a great regular season quarterback. But, I mean, to me, what's it matter? If you're a Cowboys fan, you're going to give the guy a pass no matter what. They already got excuses planned for him. If Dak goes in the playoffs, throws 3 interceptions and loses, they're going to blame everybody else. They're not going to blame Dak anyways. He's not held accountable like Donovan McNabb was held accountable, or
Jalen Hurts.
Like a Jalen Hurts is held. There's no way. You're going 10 years, and they refuse to say Dak doesn't win big games in the playoffs. Like, to me, he's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, great regular season quarterback, but can he win a big game? That's if you ask that question, it's offensive to Cowboy fans. I don't understand how it's offensive. I think it's a fair question.
Here's the reality, though. See, the funny thing, this is what is not taken into consideration. The Eagles team won the Super Bowl. We can all agree that if you didn't have Saquon Barkley as part of that team and that offensive line, you're not winning the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Okay?
Okay.
Hold on. Let's just hold on. With Dak Prescott, you can look with Dak and without Dak. Without Dak, the Cowboys are below 500. With Dak, they win a lot more games. The Cowboys, with the shit show that we typically put on the field, have actually overachieved for the talent that they've had. When we got rid of Amari Cooper and we had just CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown was our number 2 wide receiver, you had a Zeke Elliott who was 3.7 yards. He barely made 1,000 yards. You had Tony Pollard with 700 yards. And you had an offensive line that had Tyron Smith that's out. You had Terrence Steele, who was going into his second year. You had a bunch of no names, including Jason Peters. You don't look at that and say that's equal to what you had with Saquon Barkley, with your wide receiver core and things like that.
You don't have enough.
Right. No. But see, here's the flaw in Mark's argument. He's taking 1 or 2 years that's true. Okay, that he has a point, and he's making it seem like it was his entire career when it wasn't. When he had good teams, like for instance, in 2020, going into 2023, I think Dallas came off a year where they had the number 1 ranked offense in the league.
Yes,
and they still lost in the first round of the playoffs. So if you have the number 1 ranked offense,
when your defense
you can't tell me you can't tell me your offense isn't good enough to go.
Let's take that game. Let's take that game. 14 penalties. How many of those penalties were on Dak Prescott?
Which game are we talking about?
You said they lost again. We're talking about there were 12.
Is that where Dak slid with no time left and no timeouts?
So we're talking about 14 penalties.
Real smart
job like that. No, Philly. See, this is the bullshit that you Eagle fans do. Now Sills, you want to see some boxing?
It's not.
No, I'm fed up with this. The half truth.
I told you.
Hold on. I done listened to you. I didn't listen to you trash my quarterback. But when your team has 14 penalties and none of them the quarterback, when your running backs have a total of 61 yards running the football, when your defense gives up 169 yards, including the craziest penalty I've ever seen, a defensive end, Randy Gregory, passed the Dutchie from the left-hand side so I can get high, tackles an offensive lineman on third down that would have stopped them and given them the ball with better field position and more time so Dak Prescott didn't have to sign. The only person you talk about is the quarterback. Nobody else showed the fuck up.
No, because the quarterback is judged differently. Okay, so I could go back and I could say that every time Jim Kelly lost Super Bowl, everybody else fought.
How about going against Green Bay?
When Donovan McNabb lost all those NFC championship games, it was everybody else.
This is the bullshit that you get.
The problem is that isn't me, Mark. The problem is is that you can't accept responsibility at all, not even 1%.
Okay, so
your
when
quarterback.
Dak Prescott,
Everybody else fault.
when Dak
That's one
Prescott
game
going against Aaron Rodgers throws three
so the one
TDs,
game you had the 14 points. Well, what about the
304
other games?
yards,
What
takes
about
the
the other
lead,
playoff games? What about
and they
the other
can't
playoff
hold
games?
it for
All right.
53 seconds?
Every time it's somebody
Wait a
else.
minute,
Your
wait a minute,
quarterback
wait a minute.
cannot
Mark,
rise.
Wait a minute,
above
wait a minute,
it.
guys.
It's ridiculous.
No.
Let me ask this question
It's
here.
ridiculous.
Don't you think, Mark,
I
that
try
right
not to.
now, like, look at this. What's happened with Jalen versus Dak, okay? Jalen Hurts is no longer going to be judged any longer with what he does in the regular season. He's just not. And I just heard Philly say this about Dak. Dak could have the greatest regular season in his mind
Great.
and have 5,000 passing yards and 41 touchdowns and 5 picks. That doesn't matter to Philly. And just like with Jalen Hurts to him, Jalen Hurts can have the shittiest passing attack in pro football. That doesn't matter. Phil Simms said this. I don't care. You're going to be gauged on what you do in the postseason.
I
And
agree.
that's where we are here because don't you agree, Philly? It's no longer Dak can't do anything right now until he gets into a wild card game or he gets into a divisional game to you to change the narrative. Don't you agree with that too, Mark?
I agree.
Mark,
100%.
he's had great years.
I hear you. I hear you. I would just like to see him on a team that's stocked like the Eagles. How about that? And I will say, you know what? And I will say, you know what? This year, having actually 2 legitimate wide receivers instead of, let's take a look at the last number 2s we've had. Last year was Jalen Tolbert, who's not a bad receiver, but he's not a legitimate number 2. He's not.
No.
Okay. The year before was Brandon Cooks, who's past his prime. Do you look at him and equate that to like Devontae Smith? No. The year before, it was freaking Noah Brown. Clifford Franklin Brown. Sorry. I can't look at that and say that's great production. I can go through and you can take Miles Sanders on your team 3 years ago, and he's played better than anybody on the Dallas Cowboys the last 4 seasons.
1,300 yards rushing, which is 4th all time in Eagle history.
Okay. Ain't nobody in the Cowboys gone even close to that in the last 4 years. Actually, 5 years. So when we talk about this, we don't have the
5
same
years
talent
on
level.
Dak's record, right? He played what? How many years has he played now? 9?
He's going into his 10th.
Going in his 10th year. He's been a number 1 seed. He's been a number 2 seed. And every single time he goes to the playoffs, he does the same thing. He doesn't rise up. He doesn't put the team on his back. And then it's everybody else's fault. We're even going to the point now where we have to talk about how many penalties have to be in a playoff game.
Same old, because it doesn't matter what I say. You are setting your mind.
Because you got to accept it.
That's a choker. It's all Cowboys' problems for the last 30 years have been Dak Prescott's only. It's just been his from the time he was born.
Let me ask you this question, Philly. So why am I to believe that this will be different under Kevin Patullo having been hired from within, where every hire that you've had that was successful was a hire from outside? Because if you think about it in 21, it was a brand new coaching staff coming off of Doug. They all came over. Kevin Patullo, Shane Steichen came over from Indianapolis. You elevated Brian Johnson, and he's been there the entire 4 years. I mean, Brian Johnson was there in the building also with Jalen Hurts. He even knew Jalen Hurts back to Houston. Why is this going to be a different offensive coordinator approach than what it was under Brian Johnson? What makes you say this will be better?
Well, I think there's a couple things. One, Patullo's been with Nick Sirianni since he first came to Philly, right? So the second thing is I think they found their identity. They know what they want to do. They're not going out trying to have some dynamic passing game and do all the things that the Detroit Lions did. It's simple. They're gonna run on you. They're gonna wear you out. They're gonna use their offensive line. I don't think it's a matter of whether teams are surprised or not going to know what's happening. I think teams will know what's coming. It's just a matter of, can you stop it? and I don't think anybody can. So I don't think you need to find an identity. I don't think the offensive coordinator needs to find, things that he does differently. I think we know what they do and what they do well. And I think we know that they're going to run the ball a lot and they're going to wear you down. So I don't think it's as big of a deal.
Let me go over to you, Mark. Do you think you have the best duo of pass rushers in Dallas? Probably. I mean, last year, Fowler had 10.5 sacks. You add that with 12. You might have the best edge rushers in the NFC East as a duo this year. In your opinion, has this been an upgrade in one of the areas you're looking at on getting after the quarterback? You have to get after the quarterback in today's NFL. Okay? Have you made an upgrade there?
Without a doubt. Now, see, last year, the problem for us was everybody got hurt. We lost 3 edge rushers before training camp, including like Sam Williams, who is kind of like Randy Gregory, has some flashes and then ends up having some boneheaded penalties. Lawson was the best other rusher that we had on the outside, and I think he had 4 or 5 sacks on the season. Dante Fowler is definitely an upgrade from what we had last year, but you can't just look at just him. I think Donovan Easy is going to be really good. I think that you're also going to see a bit from Sam Williams, who's in a contract year, and it's kind of like shit or get off the toilet. So collectively, you're going to have a good rotation. The problem with the Cowboys is going to be is the same problem we have every year in playoffs. We are great at rushing the quarterback. And when Dak Prescott is scoring a lot of points, you're basically pinning your ears back and letting those guys go. Unfortunately, playoff football, which we haven't seemed to realize, is different. You got to be able to stop the run.
Score a lot of points.
Well, no, you don't score a lot of points, in which case it's a lot more running. And when it's a close game, we're not good at stopping the run. And we don't have a lot of big hogs that are in there. We are looking at Solomon Thomas, who, again, is a great pass rusher, a little bit light in the ass. Osa and Digazua, again, great pass rusher, light in the ass. And we're going to need Mozzie Smith to kind of step up. Or Jay Tola, who's a rookie that we just drafted in the 5th round. So we don't have a lot to stop the run. That's the Achilles heel to me. That and our secondary is beat up.
How about this here? Both of you guys comment. And Son of John, thank you very much. Hello, I just want to say this to be fair to each of you, or correct to a degree. Can we just get over the repeat of why Dak sucks and move on to see what happens when the season starts? I mean, Philly, to you, and this is probably aimed more at you here, is this what this guy is to you? I mean, do you see he is a good quarterback, okay? There's no doubt he's a good player, but at the end of the day, you're right. These guys are all gauged on what they do in the postseason. Until further notice, this is how you see him right here, no matter what he does in the regular season.
He could go out and throw 45 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in regular season. To me, his season starts round 1 of the playoffs. Well, that to me is when I got to see.
So let me ask the question. Then how do you gauge somebody like, say, Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence?
Same way.
Smith?
I think Justin Herbert's the most overrated quarterback. Here's a guy that goes out, throws 3 interceptions all year long. That's all they talk about. Goes into a playoff game, throws 5. And all they talk about is 3 interceptions.
Yeah,
I
but
see him the same way.
I look at Philly, but I look at a player this way. If you're talking about individually, is that player the best player at his position in the game? See, I'm looking at it through the eyes of a player, or does that guy fit a team concept better? I think there's 2 different things you're looking at there. Because when I look at Justin Jefferson, I look at him and as the best skilled set wide receiver in the NFL. When I look at AJ fits exactly what they're doing in Philadelphia. CeeDee Lamb fits exactly what they're doing. But yet when you look at, and you've got to have an eyeball test, like Phil Simms just said it, nobody's better in the NFL than Joe Burrow. But because he hasn't won a Super Bowl, that doesn't make him lesser of a player because he hasn't won. It's the organization that fails him.
No, it doesn't make him lesser of a player, but when you get into a playoff situation and everything's tighter and there's more pressure on you and you got to make every throw, you can't have those turnovers. A lot of guys under those circumstances and those situations, they fold, Sills. They're not the same player that they were all year for whatever reason.
Because they're asked to do more.
Well, and you know what? I think that's a part of it. And then you get quarterbacks that could go into those situations and they flourish. I mean, we saw it with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Tom Brady was a pressured quarterback. He could win under pressure, and he developed into the greatest quarterback of all time. But when he first came on the scene, he wasn't throwing 40 touchdown passes. He wasn't. He was managing the game, not turning over the ball, but in pressure situations like a Super Bowl versus the Rams and stuff, he made the plays that he had to make. There are quarterbacks that when they get to the playoffs and they get in situations where they got to make the big plays, the big pass, and the pressure's on them, they don't do it. And I think that's a big part. I think that's a forgotten thing in today's football. We look at stats so much, fantasy numbers, these numbers, we forget that simple thing. I think back in the 80s, it was overblown. Like, that's all that mattered. And then I think guys like Dan Marino didn't get the respect maybe they deserved. But now I feel like it's the opposite, where we forget what matters the most, and that's winning. So
how about this?
To me, I think it's a big deal.
Mark, how about this? And you tell me if you subscribe to this. I brought this up last week. And to me, I mean, he's not wrong, because when you're evaluating guys when it comes to where you are in the history of the sport, championships and winning has to matter. It has to be part of it. However, when I look at a guy like Prescott, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert,
Lamar
those
Jackson.
teams are all going to be dictated by how well they play week in and week out. Jalen Hurts doesn't have to play great every week. I mean, the playoffs are a prime example of it. There were 2 games that he played in the playoffs where he didn't have to be exceptional. Now, to Philly's point, Philly, I'm not dispelling the fact that you have a great GM. They built the team great. There's no question. I don't think, Mark, that there's very few quarterbacks in the NFL that can win 4 or 3 straight ball games carrying a football team on their back. Josh Allen has yet to do it. Lamar has yet to do it. Last year, even Mahomes failed in going 3 straight. Those quarterbacks, that team, they're dictated by how well that guy plays every week. Jalen's not. He doesn't have to be exceptional every week. It's not a rip. It's not a rip, Philly, because your team is so good. There's 2 stars to it. That's your advantage going into the playoffs. He doesn't have to play exceptional.
But here's the difference, though. The difference and the thing with Jason is that when he did have to in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl, when he had to make the plays, he made them. If Dak Prescott or Herbert or any of these guys do one time and prove they can do it, they'll always be looked at differently.
No. Bro, seriously. The last time we were 12-5, we had CeeDee Lamb with 1,700 yards. Incredible season. The next closest person was Brandon Cooks, well over 1,000 yards behind him. 1,000
You always argue the same
running back, Tony
What
Pollard.
about the rest of the year?
Hold on, Philly. I've listened to your shit now. Let me at least speak. You can't, because here's how I know I'm beginning to make some hay. Because that's when you interrupt me, because I'm actually making sense. The Dallas Cowboys, the last time we were 12-5, had 1 receiver that was good. 1, CeeDee Lamb. Everybody else was a bunch of guys. And you had Tony Pollard, who was not an inside runner. The Cowboys, being as cheap as they were, said, let's get rid of Zeke. We'll make Tony Pollard our all-weather running back. He averaged 4.1 yards a carry and 1,000 yards. And that's what we had as far as weapons going into the playoffs. So when you go through here and say, he's a choker, and you've got Jalen Hurts, who's got an incredible offensive line, who's got even Dallas Goedert, who is a really good tight end, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, a great line, and Saquon, it's not an even playing field. And by your measure, there's only 3 decent quarterbacks in the NFL, and that would be Pat Holmes, Jalen Hurts, and Matthew Stafford.
Dallas had 3 straight years of 12 wins. They have been a 1 seed under Dak Prescott. They have been a 2 seed under Dak Prescott.
Then you know what?
And they don't win. And it's always because they don't have something.
Let's see how far you go if your quarterback was hamstrung with that same scenario. I guess you would probably
not been hamstrung his entire career.
Philly, you are not listening to it. If you had the same shit the last time we went into the playoffs, I guarantee you would not be in the Super Bowl.
But wait a minute, Mark.
You can't even get out of the first round. Bro, you're not talking about the 1,000 yards more than what my guy did. What about the first 5 years of his career when you had the #1 offensive line in the league, the best running back? You had a tight end.
He had
36
1 year.
37 touchdowns 1 year.
1 year.
You only bring up
2018. No. See, this is where you're stating out the highlights. 2016 was the best offensive line that Dak Prescott had. In 2018, Travis Frederick.
And what happened?
No, hold on. Travis Frederick, our great center, ended up having Hillian-Barr syndrome. Okay? We've never had great tight end play with the exception of hold on. Great tight end play. You had an aging Jason Witten who was out of the booth with the Raiders and literally slow as turtle shit. The only other times you had a tight end with 800 yards, you had Dalton Schultz, who couldn't block worth shit 1 year, and you had Jake Ferguson his second year. Other than that, you've never had any great tight end play. And you've never had, other than 1 year, more than one legitimate receiver.
I want to ask you
a question. The offense has been shit.
Let me ask you this, Mark. If Dak Prescott had Howie Roseman running the Cowboys, does Dak have one or multiple Super Bowls?
Yeah, he's got Super Bowls. He's got Super Bowls. You cannot look at the Dallas Cowboys. You know what we do? You go out and get A.J. Brown. We bring in a T.Y. Hilton in the middle of the season. We go out and we get a James Washington. Okay, after we get rid of Amari Cooper, we bring in James Washington and say, yeah. And that Jalen Tolbert, he's going to be great. We literally have a GM that says we're going to do more with less. Philly?
Hey, I'm sorry, Philly.
Come on.
I'm going to ask you the question.
Come on, bro.
If Howie Roseman is in Dallas, does Dak Prescott have multiple Super Bowls?
He's going to say no.
There's nothing to lead me to believe it. He hasn't shown that he can rise up to the occasion in a big game. He hasn't shown me it.
How about this one?
Let's say the last Super Bowl where Barkley got shut down and he has to make throws. Can Dak Prescott win that game?
Oh, my God.
I don't know. He hasn't shown that he can do it. It's so bad that Mark has to actually make excuses of 14 penalties in a game to try to justify it.
I know you
but
know.
He'll ignore the fact that the guy quarterback
Philly. I know you know football better than that, bro. You know. No. When why did Saquon get shut down, man? Why did Saquon did he get shut down by a 4-man front?
No, they stacked the box.
Oh, so that doesn't help.
That Dak Prescott's going to deliver the throws.
That doesn't see. This is the bullshit. What you loudmouth Eagle fans do, bro?
What leads you to more? Let me ask you something.
If you have to stack 8 men in the box, 8 men in the box, it makes it easier for your quarterback. He's got single coverage with Devontae Smith, man. Come on, bro. Come on. No, you're full of shit, man. Philly, you're full of shit.
Several years of Dak Prescott's career, he had one of the best offensive lines and a top running back.
Okay, let's hold it. Let's go through. Whoa.
He was a 1 seed.
Stop right there. Hold on. Whoa. Okay.
Come on. What are you talking
rookie year?
about?
Let's go through it.
What makes you think
Let's go through it, bro.
Going to throw that pass at Devontae Smith in a pressure situation? What makes you think he's going to make that pass to Jahan Dotson in a pressure situation? He's shown you every playoff
in the box of single coverage. I guarantee you he makes it, bro.
I guarantee it.
Dak Prescott had the worst tight window situation throughout his career because we don't have studs and we don't have a threat of a running game.
In the playoffs, at home in Dallas, He quarterback
There's no point.
with no
There's no point.
timeouts left, and the clock runs out. That's not on everybody else.
Oh,
That's
my
on
God.
him.
Okay.
He's a choker.
Couple last ones here. Now, let me ask you this, though, Philly. Don't you think, though, what he's saying on one part here? Okay.
No, he doesn't think.
Hang on, Mark. Let's be fair here. Come on now. Listen, I'm going to agree with you on one part here. This is not about Dak. This is about the way that the organization has. Phil Simms just said it on the program about 25 minutes ago. Howie Roseman, because I asked him about Jalen, and he said this. He goes, Jalen is absolutely perfect for what they are doing, and they have the best O-line in football history. Phil Simms, how about this, Philly? Phil Simms said that your O-line is better than the Dallas Cowboys O-line of the 90s. You don't think that plays a major factor in how they go about their business, and that you give the greatest O-line to any quarterback in the NFL? Don't you think that's going to be something that's going to help those guys all flourish, whether they're Joe Burrow or whether they're anybody?
So you think every quarterback that starts, if they played for the Eagles, would have won a Super Bowl?
No, I don't think that, because I think.
Well, why would I think Dak Prescott is when he can't do anything in the playoffs? You don't go 12 seasons in a row, 3 years in a row, and then you lose in every playoff game, and then tell me he's going to be able to play in the playoffs at a high level. He doesn't.
He didn't against Tampa Bay.
Quarterbacks.
He didn't against Seattle. He did against Green Bay.
How many games has he won in the playoffs? 2 games.
So wait a minute. When they take the lead with 53 seconds left after a game-winning drive and the defense doesn't hold them, it's because the quarterback sucked?
Not necessarily, but when the quarterback slides with no timeouts and the clock runs out.
So when he threw 5 TD passes against Tom Brady, where nobody picked the Dallas Cowboys on the road. Nobody did.
Everybody knew Dallas was going to win.
Oh, bullshit. Every one of the crowd.
Oh, come on. I won $350.
Everybody said Tom Brady's going to win.
Oh, 2 playoff games.
Revisionist history.
In your career, 2 playoff games, and I'm supposed to give the guy a trophy.
You get that. You guys have been absolutely. I love this. Is what's going to make Eagles and Cowboys in September 4th going to be great.
99 days, 3 hours, 16 minutes, and 40
Dak
seconds.
Prescott wants to do something good to the NFC Championship game.
So wait a minute. What if Dak wins this game on the 4th?
He'll say nothing. That's what he's going to say, because he's going to choke in the playoffs. That's exactly what you're going to say.
Hey, you know what? If you would have asked me back in 2001, 2002 about Donovan McNabb, I would have said the same thing I say about Dak Prescott. Let's see what he does when the playoffs come. Let's see what he does when he gets to that NFC Championship game, because he didn't do it for 4 straight times.
So you compare Dak to McNabb. You compare Dak to McNabb.
I think he's Dak McNabb. He reminds me of Donovan McNabb.
Philly. All right. Last one here for you guys. For you, Mark. Mark, year 10. I want to ask you. I mean, if not now, when? I mean, right? I mean, does he have enough talent around him to make a run? And let me do this for you. I want to start it out like I started this segment out before you came on. Take yourself out of the Eagles and stop with the Eagle comparison. How do you compare against the Rams, the Lions, Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota? Because somebody's got to play in the Final Four and someone's got to play in an NFC title game on the other side. Do you think you're in the room with those other teams that I just mentioned? Take the Eagles out of that. Put one of those teams. Do you think you're in the room with Washington and say the Rams and Detroit?
Well, with Washington, surprisingly, Cooper Rush actually won against them, and we actually played well the second game against them. So I'm not going to go through here and think that we don't have a chance against them, as well as with the Eagles. Contrary to what you guys say that Dak just sucks, we know that in his division. Okay, can I answer? Can I finish my conversation here?
But you got to put the.
I have to get a plate and come out there and bitch slap you.
Yeah, you try. I will double moonwalk that ass.
Oh,
All right.
You're always talking about my ass. It's kind of suspect there, Philly.
Double moonwalk. Yeah. I'm coming for them meats
It's
too.
getting kind
You
of
watch.
suspect there.
I'm coming for them meats.
Okay. The thing with the Cowboys
better watch
is,
out.
we got great feelings. We got, some help. We're still making up for all of the losses we had the year before, but you do have a completely new coaching staff that's going to have to meld these guys together. I still think we are in trouble as far as our secondary because Savon Ravel is a rookie and hasn't played since September, and Diggs probably won't be ready till about the middle of the season, as well as Overshown. Could the Cowboys be competitive? They definitely should be, but I'm not going to be here to say, we're going to be a Super Bowl team. We're going to be romping through it. There's a lot of unknowns that we have right now. We have to see what cream rises to the top, and maybe you get some guys that play better than you're expecting, and if that happens, yeah, you got a chance to be up there with everybody else.
Philly, I want to ask him these questions here about, again, we pretty much know where the Eagles are. I want to know about Joe Milton. What do you make of him? I mean, what do you think the type of impact? Do you think he, again, as a backup? Okay, I think he's a good backup for them.
Please.
How about this, George Pickens? Is he picking up the offense? Do you think so far in OTAs, from what I'm hearing? I mean, where is he now, in your opinion, when it comes to the second wide receiver? I heard that, again, he's still learning. He's now in his 5th OTA. His impact will be what, in your opinion, this year?
Me or Mark?
Yeah, Mark. Joe.
I think it's going to be huge, because you can look at the interesting thing with Dak Prescott. Everybody always says, well, Dak Prescott doesn't elevate guys. Well, I tell you what, he took a Randall Cobb who from 2014 just kept dropping from 1,200 yards down to 383 yards. He comes to Dallas that next year, has over 800 yards, gets $25 million to go to the Texans, and goes back to being a 400-yard guy, even with Aaron Rodgers, because he goes there the next year. Typically, when guys have come to the Cowboys with Dak Prescott, they perform really, really well, at least during the regular season, as you will say, Philly. And so you get a guy like that, we will for once start hopefully having some separation, which is something we do not have. We have guys that can't get open, in which case my quarterback is having to throw tight windows, which, if you understand football, the tighter the coverage is, the harder it is to make a completion, and the better the odds of it getting intercepted. So I think it's going to have a huge impact to help spread the field. You won't be able to double team CeeDee Lamb and just let him go with your third best cornerback. If you do, they're going to light you up. And that should help the running game, because I can put myself in 12 personnel, put these guys on the outside, just let them go deep. And if you're not covering them, I'm going to go to them. I think it definitely helps this team.
Deron Bland, you think they're going to have him more in the slot this year?
I think that's out of necessity, and I'm not sure that is going to be the case. I think that they may end up looking at bringing in Stephon Gilmore back to help. But right now, one of the things Brian Schottenheimer is doing is he's putting people in different situations. Guys that maybe second and third teams are getting first team reps and things. He's trying to figure out everybody their best position, and if they need to be playing someplace else to help the team, they've got some experience in there.
Last one for you, Philly. The improvement, what's the number one job that Kevin Petula has this year, in your opinion? What's the number one thing you want to see? Because he said something interesting today when he addressed the media. He said, I'm the number one voice in the room. Okay? And he learned a lot, because last year, Kellen Moore had to adjust on the fly. And he learned a lot about being a coordinator. But for you, what's the one thing you want to see with Kevin Petula? And let me add to this here. I asked this question to Philly fans, and they blew up on me and got upset. Do you think that offense, the last 2 years, with all the talent that you have on that team, do you think they've reached their potential with all your talent? Do you think that they have leveled? Do you think they have raised and they have fulfilled the talent level of what you have on the team, and they've lived up to the expectations? 90% of the people in here said yes. I said this. If that's the case, you're in trouble, because you won a Super Bowl playing C-plus football, I thought.
C-plus
Well, wait,
football?
you're so dominant. No, that's what Phil said. You were so dominant that you played C-plus offensive
Well,
football.
How could you be so dominant and be C-plus?
Because you're one-dimensional. So wait a minute. You think
you're
then
one-dimensional.
You must think, wait a minute. Then you must think you lived up to the talent level of
No,
the offense, and they've exceeded it.
If you're asking me, do I think there's room for improvement? Yes.
Yes.
We can become better. Yes. We haven't peaked. We haven't peaked yet. We
you know
can
what
get
Phil
better.
said, because you guys were so one-dimensional? He said, I feel better about it because it shows you how dominant you were.
Well, that's the thing. If you're that dominant run game wise, I mean, I don't see the need to say, well, we want to look better passing. We want better passing numbers, so let's not run as much as we are when it's that effective.
So then you're happy with what the talent level has done the last 2 years of the football team.
We won a Super Bowl.
And you think they've lived up to their...
Why would I be... No, I don't. No, I think there's room for improvement. They can get better, but I'm not unhappy with where we're at. We just won a Super Bowl. My quarterback was just MVP. So no, I have reasons to hope that they can improve. I would like to see the passing game improve a little bit. I would like to see more out of my third wide receiver. I think Devontae Smith doesn't get the ball enough, to be quite honest with you. There's room for improvements, but am I totally I don't know how I could be dissatisfied when they just won a Super Bowl and my quarterback was MVP.
Again, like I said, though, I mean, don't you think that offense should be that should be the greatest show on turf? Scoring fit. I mean, like this. Don't you think that the offense should look like the NFC title game and the Super Bowl every week?
Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't happen. It's different. Regular season, you go through your ups and downs. What team plays at a perfect level every week? I mean, that's obviously what you strive for. That's the goal. Doesn't happen. However, but what did you just say? Just play like you played in the championship game and the Super Bowl. That's right. When the game is on the line and it matters more and the pressure's higher, that's when my team played their best. That's what you want from a championship team. That's what we need to see from these other quarterbacks around the league that haven't won in big games. I think it matters.
I do. I agree with you. Mark, I'll tell you what, after listening to some of the Cowboy people and talking to some of the Cowboy guys, they're pretty happy with what's going on right now. They just need reps to figure out what they are and to get their identity. And I think they have improved. I think the roster's improved. I mean, I still think you're going to be suspect a little bit. And the biggest question marks are going to be running the ball and stopping the run as usual. And that's where the Eagles have the advantage right now, is that they run the ball and stop the run. I mean, since 1920, that dynamic has not changed. I think this thing's getting really, really awesome. We're 99 days in honor of Jerome Brown. How you doing there, Philly? In honor of 99 days.
Man.
I mean, I'll tell you what, man, you are probably the biggest critic of Dak Prescott.
I don't think it's controversial what I'm saying. The only reason I bring it up is because he won't admit it. He'll go on there and talk about Lawrence. He'll talk about Herbert, and he'll bring up these things. But when it comes to Dak, he doesn't. All I want him to do is acknowledge it. Acknowledge that his quarterback has to prove.
I could be doing a job making some money.
That's all I want to hear.
Being diddied, on an ego. Am I just here for the fresh meat? Being diddy.
It's a literal.
I thought you said Diddy.
Don't you think he gets? Don't you think he gets too offended by it?
I thought you said Diddy. Sorry,
Diddy. Yes, I come in here and get diddied. Okay.
You would think I'm talking about his son.
I love you guys.
Listen, look at him. Look at him, Sills. He's a mess. He's all pissed off. He's mad.
So.
He's aggravated because we're talking about Dak Prescott.
Every morning I wake up, I get hate mail from Eagle fans. Okay,
y'all. I think nobody
can do a live stream without Eagle fans in here talking all their shit. And then look,
we're doing is debating.
Hold on. Here's how crazy some of you Eagle fans are. So I got somebody in here in my chat saying Jalen Hurts went to back-to-back Super Bowls. That's a lie. And I had another person that was sitting there saying that Jalen Carter, every time he played against Tyler Booker, kicked his ass. They never played. Stop making shit up.
Mark is passive aggressive. Mark is so passive aggressive. He'll do like 5 videos. He'll take cheap shots at the Eagles.
10.
And then when the fans come back at him, he goes, "Why are you coming after me? I didn't do anything." Mark, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Hey, Mark,
he
great
knows.
stuff, dude. Make sure
I love
check
Mark.
that.
I love him, but he's wrong about that. Until Dak can win, he's wrong. I love Mark, but he's
what would
wrong.
you have to talk about if it wasn't Dak Prescott?
It's not personal. We would talk probably about my
No, wait a minute. You know what we'd be talking about? We'd be talking about the next Dallas Cowboys starter.
Okay.
Was Tony Romo a choker?
Was Tony Romo? We had that field goal. That was bad.
Okay.
And I can't blame.
Mark, I think they got robbed. I think they got robbed.
The catch was Tony Romo choking.
That was
Tony Romo
but I think they got robbed in that Green Bay game. I thought that was a catch and
Romo was a choker too. How do you drop that field goal kick? That extra. I'm sorry. That's a choking thing.
Now that was a gag. All right, guys.
Okay, so wait, one last question. If Dak Prescott somehow, some way makes it to an NFC Championship game,
I'll give him a lot of credit.
God, let's not get crazy. Say a Super Bowl. Does that change your opinion on him?
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
All right.
If he gets to
I'm gonna remember you said that.
I'm gonna remember you said Super Bowl and he plays really good in the playoffs, I'll give him credit. To me, that's what Dak. That's to me what Dak.
Hey, hold on, you're moving the field goal post because there's a lot of guys that have gone to the Super Bowl without playing well.
Yeah, but I think
wait a minute, Mark.
I think that
winning a Super Bowl doesn't. Hey, Mark, winning a Super Bowl doesn't define a career.
No, sure helps.
It does not.
It does by Philly.500.
Wait a minute. Was 20 guys who have won the MVP in a Super Bowl that have there's no chance in hell they're going to the Super Bowl. Okay, it's a great moment when you're talking about one of the greats of all time, but that doesn't define a career. Because, and again, you go into the Hall of Fame not because of team accomplishments. You go into the Hall of Fame because of your accomplishments.
Yep.
That's Hall of Fame. Okay? I mean, you can have a great moment. I mean, do I think Dexter Jackson, the defensive back, who some of you probably don't even know, was a Super Bowl MVP? Do you even know who he is? He played for the Bucs. Nobody knows who he is. Okay? I mean, but you know who a guy like Warren Moon is, who played 17 excellent years and never went to an AFC championship game. So again, I get it. Philly's right, though, today. I mean, championships do separate guys.
And you know what? Warren Moon, in my opinion, I think he was one of the best pure passers I've ever seen. But if you
put CFL and if you put NFL together, what he did, he threw for over 74,000 yards.
I agree. And back in the day, if this was like the mid to late 90s, I would be saying that Warren Moon doesn't get a fair shake because everybody judges only Super Bowls. But for whatever reason, it seems like the narrative is shifted today where that Super Bowls and winning in the playoffs doesn't matter at all. And only the stats. I think we've done like an opposite. Like we've gone from one extreme to the other.
Because it's the paycheck. Because it's the paycheck.
Yeah. And to me, you got to win. In today's game, especially, you've got to show you can win the big games.
You guys have been fantastic, and I can't thank you enough for your time. Hey, Mark, I think you know what? I'm going to change my opinion, man. I don't think you're a 5-win team this year. I think you're going to, because you know why? Hang on here. I'm looking at the rest of the NFC, and I'm going to take the Eagles out of it. Do I think you can hang with the Rams? I do. Do I think you can hang with Detroit? I don't know about that one, but do I think you can hang with every other team? Now, depending on what the injuries are, war of attrition, how deep your roster is, you got a quarterback that can throw it around the room. And to Philly's point, Philly isn't this important. If Dak Prescott stays healthy and that team, he's very capable, like you said, he's a regular season quarterback. Well, I'll tell you what. That's how you get to the postseason in the second season is playing great in the regular season. So if he can carry you there, let's see what happens. Because like you said, your narrative on him's not going to change until he gets to the postseason, right? But he's very capable. Do you not agree? Because you just said it. He's
a good quarterback. Regular season quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's a good passer. I think he's a good person. I have nothing against him personally, but if I'm judging quarterbacks, I put him with on the same level as Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert, guys that have to prove they can win. Lamar Jackson is another one. Okay, like they got to prove you can win in the playoffs. I'm sorry,
Mark. Tell the folks how they can find you on your great channel.
JOBU Sports Report. Just look up JOBU Sports Report and you'll find me everywhere.
Don't look so fucking pissed off and like,
I
mean, what are you, an
personal.
owl? Who? You? Yeah, you.
He takes it
this stuff.
It's not a personal attack.
Hey, Sills, this is my game face that I'm keeping until September 4th. 99 days. Okay, I'm intense. I want this. I want to see the Eagles after all this shit that I've been taking. I want to see them somehow lose and literally be dumbfounded and speechless. That is my dream.
Philly? Retort?
Yeah, it won't happen. Here's the thing.
Are you guaranteeing you're winning?
I'm not getting. You're not baiting me in the guarantee.
Mike, is that a video?
Yeah, well, because he wants to do a video. It'll be Eagles fans guaranteeing victory over Cowboys, and he'll do 8 videos on it. It's just only like 8? When I said that we had a better secondary than Dallas last year. They had like an emergency live stream, video after video. How could Philly.500 say that we have a secondary that's not as good as how can he? Like I ain't buying in that bait. I'm just saying that when you got regular season and you got playoffs, it's a different kind of football.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
And enough to win in the big.
I'm a Cowboy fan. Don't talk about playoffs.
That's right.
You guys,
you better hope you're better than Washington this year, because I'm gonna rip Dak Prescott a new one every week.
You better not lose to the Cowboys.
Commanders finish higher than the Cowboys in the NFC East. That's another indictment against him.
Another one. I mean, look, it's funny how the narrative has changed with Dak over last year. I mean, Dak was having a horrible season before he got hurt. It wasn't like he got hurt and their season collapsed. He wasn't playing good football anyways.
With who? I mean, Brandon. You know what? We could go all night.
No, I got
you got to get out of here.
I got you guys. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you, man. Hey, don't forget to find my boy Philly.500 and his great channel as well.
I'm around. Just type
thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Peace out.
Oh man. Hey, that was Mark. Mark was pissed off today. Mark is better pissed off. Okay, I think he felt like he got pissed on a couple times prior, because every time I sent him a text, hey, let me check my schedule here. It's like Jalen Hurts checking his schedule now, because he's the man time of the year, so he's got to check out and see if he's got an opportunity here. But Mark's better pissed off. He's better pissed off. I thought that was his best performance. In about 2 months. That's about his best performance, because he stood up. And by the way, you guys really send him like text messages, and you guys really rip him a new one? He's watching backstage, and I will say this. Do you know how many people ask me every Wednesday, is Mark coming on? I can't tell you how many people over on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. Hey, Mark, just so you're listening, I can't tell you how many people tell me, is he coming on today? And I have Phil Simms today. And 90% of the people were waiting to see this in him. I'm going to tell you flat out, he's going to get better numbers than Phil Simms today. This is great. Him and Philly get better numbers than Phil Simms. It's because he's delusional? Well, that's a Cowboy guy, but I get it. Holy cow, he's a great guy. and I appreciate him doing this. My aunt loves, let me say this to you. My aunt loves Mark Holmes. Okay? She does. I don't know why, but she loves him. All right, guys. Look at this. We even got Elizabeth throwing the goat out. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff there. All right. Guys, do me a favor. Please check out my friends at Morgan & Morgan. With over $30 billion recovered, making them the #1 injury law firm in all of America. And why? They win. It's the #1 reason why Morgan & Morgan is #1. It's because they win. I told you about the families all across the country. Ultima Morgan and John Morgan built this company 30 years ago, and it's out protecting families. And I've said it before to you. If you guys are ever injured, please do me a favor and check out our friends at Morgan & Morgan by going forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got